Are short sellers accidentally contributing to what we're going to end up seeing with NIO stock as a 10x or 20x or even better kind of move with the stock price? I think it's a fair question to discuss, but we're going to table it for now. I'll come back to it in a little bit because I want to hone in on some big picture overview concepts that really matter to me. And for example, NIO as an IDE is why I picked this company. I didn't want a company that was an SME. What's the difference? And this comes from a senior lecturer at MIT. I'll link this and everything that I share in the description. So just click the more and then go down if you want to check this out for yourselves. But there are essentially two types of businesses per this instructor at MIT. And you've got an SME, which is like a local or regional market. And you see the growth trajectory is pretty consistent. They can be profitable right away and make a nice growth over time. But an IDE is different. They focus on global markets. They have something very different, very innovative and disruptive. That's actually what it stands for, innovative driven enterprise. And this is key. The company starts by losing money, but if successful, will have exponential growth. That's what I was looking for. And with NIO, I found a unicorn, which is why I got very excited about this company. Here's the growth trajectory. Look at how it goes negative for a while before then eventually exploding up with massive profits. And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for from NIO. Now, I want to talk about two companies that are IDEs, NIO and NVIDIA. And the reason I want to talk about these two is, first off, NVIDIA has been working with NIO since NIO has been a startup, dating back to 2014. This is, in fact, from the NVIDIA website that I'm sharing. And again, I'll link the tabs in the description so you can check it out for yourselves. But there are a couple other things to take note of here. NVIDIA has been around since 1993. This is a 30-year-old company, a much more mature, much more profitable company. NIO has not yet shown profits. They're only 10 years old. And so again, if we go back to the IDE and kind of visualize that IDE, true IDE businesses, these companies that have a larger global footprint need more time, then that's one of the reasons that I've just kind of been, all right, this is long-term with NIO. Let's see what happens. Now, this is a post that I made back on May 20th, and it kind of summarizes some of the things that make NIO an IDE in my mind. The power swap stations, NIO Life, and collaborations, all the partnerships that NIO does. And, you know, these are three of the differentiators is kind of the way I put it. And this is a unicorn, a truly unique company. NIO, we've never seen anything like this. And so with that in mind, of course, I was teasing and kind of joking, you know, NIO Stock, TikTok shorts, I'm watching you, having a little fun with that. But William Lee is the key. He is Mr. EQ. Emotional quotient is what that stands for. He has a very high IQ as well. But this guy sees things out into the future and positions in ways that a lot of folks don't recognize early on. So again, we've now got this recurring theme in my mind of a company that needs more time. And that is exactly in line with an IDE, an innovative driven enterprise. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see I've got the three major growth phases as I've identified them for NIO. Profitability is really important, especially for crushing the short sellers or the short thesis, because they will take advantage of all this negativity until profitability comes in for one of these companies and push a negative narrative, and then also try to suppress the stock price. One of the goals for them, I think, is to try and keep the stock price low enough that a company can't raise capital when it needs to. But NIO has kind of worked around that and gotten a couple very strategic partners who have very deep pockets who can help them so they don't have to do traditional offerings. So this is an advantage to NIO, and also I think a leverage play done by Mr. EQ, William Lee. But hang on, because I think now I've kind of hopefully set the tone and the table so that we can talk about why NIO and NVIDIA are both IDEs, but they are at a different time frame. In NVIDIA, we've seen make 10x type of gains in the recent 5-year history, even of the stock in the company. So what does that mean for NIO, and how likely are we to see NIO make another massive run? A fair question. Hang on. I've got a little bit more to get into, and then we'll talk about the stock price.
With us.
Good to be back with you.
Simple as that. Naked shorting exists in this market, even though it's an illegal practice.
Well, it's not entirely illegal, but yes, in the large cap market, absolutely.
I'm stopping it there because the large cap market, I actually want to pull this up very quickly. Large caps, stable returns with less room to grow. Now, the argument can be made that Nvidia still has room to grow. However, it is clear that this is a mature, very profitable company. And as such, Nvidia is much less likely to be naked shorted. Now, conversely, small caps are more volatile, but with the potential for growth and higher returns. That sure sounds like a NIO, especially with the stock price that has been pushed back down below $5. We've already seen it run past $60, and that was when NIO was not close to profitability. They are getting close now, and that's what makes things really interesting. But hang on, I'm not done. There's one more piece that I'd like to offer here. And yes, I'm going to talk about the fails to deliver, because fails to deliver probably the best representation that we could get of what naked shorting might look like. And this is Nvidia in its history. Now, the only time the fails to deliver spiked, that's represented by the white lines here, there were 2 days where basically there were over 1 million and then almost 4 million shares that couldn't be located. And that was right around the time where they did their last split. But if you look back at just, this is within the last 5 years, and even before that split, we've seen an easy 10x with the stock price for Nvidia. And of course, it may or may not matter that the fails to deliver have been so low. But as a large cap, and Jacob Frankel, the former SEC enforcement lawyer, he's the one who was interviewed and speaking about this, he mentioned this. And so with the idea that the large caps are really not going to be targeted, what happens with a company like NIO, which is a small cap? Well, you see the fails to deliver that were very high for quite a while during the time frame when it really wasn't clear whether NIO was going to go out of business and possibly go bankrupt. That was when the short thesis was at its strongest point, and the stock price certainly was depressed. But then the shorts apparently got caught, and we saw NIO stock run in less than 7 months from $3 to $54. And then it went into the 60s. And if you note this one time frame where we probably had average or normal-ish numbers on the fails to deliver, the white lines dropping off, you see what the stock price did. Now, again, and I think it's noteworthy that NIO was not close to profitability at that time. As they get close to profitability, and as we've seen an uptick in the fails to deliver, and in particular, recently, 5 million in a single day reported, which we hadn't seen since back before NIO stock made its big run. I just think this is something to watch moving forward. I'm actually waiting on data because it's all delayed, but I'm waiting for data from early May to see what the fails to deliver look like. If we've got more of this kind of spiking action, I just think that sets the table for a very, very interesting end of 2024 and setting up into 2025, where I do think NIO has an excellent chance to start showing profits. And at that point, at some point, once NIO becomes profitable, if they're able to do it quickly and soon and catch the shorts, then I almost feel like this short selling mechanism is going to actually almost feel like a trampoline where it's being pushed down only to bounce up higher. Now, call me crazy, I've been called worse, but we've seen NIO stock run. It's also noteworthy, I didn't realize until I really dug into the data, but it's taken over 2.5 years for the stock price to be taken from a roughly $40 range or level down to sub $4, and now it's sub $5. But conversely, or comparatively, we saw it go from $3 to $54 in less than 7 months. So this thing can move. And if the short sellers and naked shorting is in effect and in play, then that means there is the potential for a massive move. But again, concept overview, and for me, I can't state this enough, because giving it the time, the company the time to do what it needs to do and show exponential growth, I just don't see that the stock price won't follow eventually, especially where we've already seen it make massive moves at a time when the company was not close to being profitable. But I want to hear from others. I'm very curious what others are thinking about this. Do you think that short sellers are accidentally contributing to what we will end up seeing as a 10x or 20x or better move for the NIO stock price? I'm excited to hear from others on this one. Thanks. Have a great day, and I will see you all again very soon.